Alright guys, I'm back with my review of this week's TNA Impact Wrestling for May 9th, 2013. And I guess one of the things I should mention is TNA is going back to the 9 o'clock time slot. So the show is going to be from 9 to 11 instead of 8 to 10 from now on. But anyways, Sting and Angle come out. Sting talks about how he's #1 contender. And then Kurt Angle calls out AJ. So AJ comes out, and Angle asks if he's going to join them in the fight against the Aces and Eights. And he doesn't answer, so Sting says, "Let me try. Look, AJ, I did the same thing. I was mysterious. I hung out in the rafters. Just do the right thing." And AJ just walks away, so Kurt Angle gets pissed off, and he goes after him. They start fighting on the ramp. And I actually thought this made AJ look kind of weak because Kurt Angle actually takes him down. And AJ's still trying to fight him off, but meanwhile, back in the ring, the Aces and Eights come out, and Bully Ray and Devon hit the 3D on Sting. So backstage, the cameraman tries to talk to AJ, and of course he just leaves. He walks away, doesn't say anything. We get Gail Kim and Tara with Jesse, so I guess they're trying to make sure everybody knows they're still together, versus Mickie James and Velvet Sky. The heels pretty much beat up Mickie James the entire time. Velvet throws Gail into Jesse and hits the facebuster on Tara for the win. Afterwards, Gail Kim actually attacks Tara and puts her in the figure 4 across the post. So I'm not really sure what they're doing here, if they're going to try and turn Tara face or just really build Gail Kim up as a threat. I don't know. The Aces and Eights are celebrating the attack on Sting, and Bully tells D'Lo they have some club business to deal with in the ring. So I guess TNA just lets the Aces and Eights have ring time whenever they want to air out their club business. That makes no sense at all. Daniels and Kazarian bring Storm some beers, and they try to get on his good side since he's the referee in the tag match. The Aces and Eights come out, and Bully says that anyone thinking of joining Sting and Angle, don't. And he tells D'Lo to turn in his colors. And D'Lo says, "My cut is my life." How sad is that? So he doesn't want to do it. They rip his vest off, and Anderson freaks out on him. And Bully says he has to earn it back. So D'Lo says, "Well, I'll kick Magnus's ass tonight." And Bully says, "No, Doc's going to face Magnus. You're going to sit with the timekeeper and watch. And you better hope he wins." So it's Doc versus Magnus, which I guess this would be a great time for anyone to just come out and beat the shit out of D'Lo Brown, but no one does. And it also had me wondering, what exactly does Taz contribute to this group? I mean, he does nothing. At least D'Lo tried to do something by taking on Angle. But D'Lo tries to pull Magnus out of the ring. He gets thrown into the steps. So he gets up and he's all dazed, and he tries to pull Magnus out again, but it's Doc. I guess he didn't realize, so Doc is like, "What the hell, man?" He's grabbing his legs, and then Magnus rolls Doc up for the win. It was pretty bad. Backstage, the Aces and Eights hold D'Lo Brown down, and Bully Ray is going to bash his brains in with a hammer, and then Anderson says, "Wait a minute, let's give him a job he can do." So Bully's like, "Okay, you're going to be a prospect again, which means you got to get us beers. You got to keep the beer cold. You got to wash the motorcycles." That's it. That's his big punishment. So they went all the way from smashing his brains in with a hammer to you got to get us some beers. So Hogan wants to be the third man with Sting and Angle, but they say he can't because his doctor says he's too messed up. Hogan's like, "You're right," but he's got a wild card. And he says this guy can destroy the Aces. And Sting says, "Well, I don't know if we want a wild card. Let's go with Magnus. He's on fire." So they decide to go with Magnus. AJ, or Kurt Angle, calls AJ a little bastard. And that was pretty much it. I was wondering who the wild card is. I actually was thinking maybe Matt Morgan, which wouldn't really make sense. I guess it would make sense, kind of, but he was booked to look like shit last week, so I was hoping it was someone else, and then I thought Rob Terry would be a big monster guy they could say would easily destroy the Aces and Eights, but Aries and Rude are trying to sweet talk Storm. So it's time for the tag match, and Christy Hemme completely fucks up the entrance. She calls Aries and Rude, Daniels, and Kazarian, and when they get in the ring, Aries puts his dick in her face. Let's see here. Kazarian and Daniels hit a double team move on Bobby Roode, and Kazarian covers Rude. Storm gets down to make the count. Rude kicks out. And then Storm freaks out like he's injured. And then he gets up like he's fine. And I have no idea what exactly happened here. At first I thought maybe he broke a finger or something, hitting the mat wrong, kind of like Randy Orton when he messed up his shoulder pounding on the mat. And then I thought maybe it was a cramp or he pulled a muscle or something. But yeah, he just freaked out, started shaking kinda. And then he got up. And the best part was the look on Kazarian's face, like, what the fuck? And then Taz saying on commentary, what was that? And saying he thinks he's drunk. But it was really weird. And this was a great match. Definitely go out of your way to watch this match. But pay attention to this part because it's just so bizarre. And I know stuff happens. Guys get injured. You never know what's going to happen out there. Maybe he didn't stretch enough before getting out there thinking, hey, I'm just going to be the ref, I don't need to, and then pulled something or got a cramp. But yeah, it was just so weird. So where was I here? Aries hits a awesome dive onto Christopher Daniels, throws him in, hits the frog splash, but Kazarian breaks it up. Daniels rolls up Aries and holds the tights right in front of Storm, so Storm refuses to count. Daniels gets in his face. They start arguing. Aries grabs a beer, spits it in Daniels' face, and Storm grabs the beer and drinks it, so Aries gets pissed off about this. And Storm tries to super kick him, but hits Daniels. Aries covers him. He's like, alright, you have to count. And Storm refuses and super kicks Aries. And you could tell the guy was just in intense pain hitting these super kicks because of whatever the hell injury he got. You could just see the look on his face, but it was a good match. The Aces are backstage beating up Magnus again. It's one of their favorite things to do, apparently. And they crush his head between some steel thing and a forklift, so he's dead now. We get a video for Suicide's return. Kenny King comes out, and he says that he's so good, TNA wants him to wrestle 2 guys instead of 1 every week, except it's not every week, including this week. And he calls out Chris Sabin, and he acts all respectful, like you're an inspiration, he really cares about his story. But of course he's just mocking him, and he says you're never going to be the X Division champion. Sabin hits him, and King runs off. And when Kenny King first came out, I was just thinking, I don't want to see this. They're not using Kenny King properly. They really haven't built this guy up at all. He means nothing. And he's been boring to watch. So they might as well just put the title on Chris Sabin next week, which they may do. But Kenny King just doesn't even come across as a threat. I mean, he's the champion, and they barely give him any promos. But Chris Sabin gets all these video packages and everything, and he just has, because of the injuries, he does have the better story, but they could still do way more with Kenny King. And I just don't care about Kenny King right now, and it's kind of like, okay, he's just holding the title for Chris Sabin. That's what it feels like. Backstage, Aries and Rude looked like they were fighting with Kazarian and Daniels. Someone laid out James Storm. We don't know who. I'm not sure what this is supposed to mean. At first I was thinking maybe Storm's injury was pretty severe and they're doing this to ride him off of TV for a while, but who knows. Next week, Jay Bradley, Sam Shaw, Alex Silva, and Christian York compete for a chance to enter the Bound for Glory series. probably going to be Christian York. Bully says he knows not everybody in the club is happy about the treatment of D'Lo. All he has to do is get beer. What is so bad about the treatment of D'Lo Brown? But he has to weed out the weak, and he says after they win the match tonight, they're going to go looking for some women. Angle and Sting versus Devon, Bully, and Anderson. The Aces are dominating Angle and Sting, and then the camera cuts backstage where the rest of the Aces have been laid out by someone. So Sting gets a hot tag, and he takes out all the Aces. He gets Bully in the Scorpion Deathlock. Anderson runs in the ring, hits the mic check on Sting. Bully and Devon set up a table, and then Abyss returns. So, yeah, the wig looked terrible, but it was still awesome to see Abyss. Very glad he's back in action. He destroys the Aces, chokeslams Anderson through the table, and hits the Black Hole Slam on Devon for the win. So that was the end of the show. And it was weird to see Abyss come out, but it was an awesome surprise. Definitely didn't expect this. I did think maybe Joseph Park, but I really thought they were going to go with Matt Morgan, Rob Terry, somebody like that. But Abyss was a great surprise, and I am a fan of Abyss, so at least this is something a little bit different and unpredictable. But as far as the show goes this week, what was that, 3 matches in a 2-hour show? That's crap. So even though I did like some of this stuff, I liked the return of Abyss, I liked the tag match a lot. That was really good. And I guess the stuff with AJ in the beginning was pretty good. But 3 matches on a 2-hour show. What the hell is this? And I guess we'll have to see if moving back to 9 o'clock helps the ratings at all. I don't know. But anyways, that's my review of this week's TNA Impact. Hope you guys liked the video. Leave your thoughts on this week's show in the comments. And thanks for watching.